Welcome to Don't Watch Qatar 2022, a series of articles and podcast episodes about the dilemma many football fans are facing right now: to watch or not to watch the upcoming World Cup. My name is Enzio Bakker, I'm a Dutch football fan, and I decided a couple of years ago that I'm not going to watch this year's World Cup. During this project I'll explain why by answering 8 questions every football fan should ask themselves. Today we'll focus on question number 4. Won't this World Cup backfire for Qatar because of all the bad publicity? It's a comforting thought. All the publicity for Qatar's modern slavery will turn out to be a net negative for the country's regime. The World Cup is happening, but because the spotlight is on the Gulf state's human rights abuses, it would make Qatar a pariah state shunned by the rest of the world. This would be a kind of poetic justice, making the sacrifices of modern slaves a bit less pointless. But will this kind of justice really be served? The first thing to consider is the tiny amount of negative attention Qatar receives. All parties are pointing to each other. Players, even those who are more outspoken on social issues, like Jorginho Wijnaldum, don't think it's their responsibility to speak up. They, justifiably, think it's up to national federations to make a statement. But federations only issue half-hearted comments in which they often mention the false hope of the World Cup leading to positive change. Then, responsibility seems to fall on journalists, but they are torn on the issue. Prominent Dutch football journalist Willem Vissers announced in 2014 that he would not travel to Qatar for the World Cup, but by 2019 he had begun to doubt his decision. On a radio show he said, "Back then I wrote an article hoping it would make a difference. Nothing happened. So what's the point? If everything's already decided, shouldn't I go there and write critically about it?" But that's not a great argument, because once you're there and the World Cup has started, those worker camps will all be gone, because the stadiums are finished. So that's a bit pointless as well. In the same conversation, Sjoerd Mossou, another well-known journalist, says, "Everyone needs to make their own moral judgment. It's not true that individuals can't do their part, but clubs and federations do have a bigger responsibility than a left-back or a journalist." Even though Mossou might be right, it's a bit frustrating, because this kind of thinking closes the loop of people pointing at each other while nobody really does anything. Even if there would really be overwhelming negative attention by media outlets via widely shared statements or other initiatives, these won't hurt the Qataris if nobody boycotts their tournament. To understand this point, it's important to understand why Qatar is making such huge investments in organizing this World Cup. Qatar is facing several challenges in the 21st century. For example, some people are starting to doubt whether a monarchy is the best power structure at a time when the call for political reform from inside and outside the country is becoming stronger and stronger. Another source of discontent is the role of migrants and women as secondary citizens. Furthermore, the rich oil fields will one day run dry, so Qatar needs a diversified economy in which the services and tourism sectors can become increasingly important. The country's geopolitical situation is another reason for hosting sports events. Qatar is a small trading nation with limited military power in an unstable region. It has had tensions with powerful neighbors such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. That's why it needs to have strong ties with both the US and China for protection, but also with other Arab nations. It cannot afford to cut itself off from the rest of the world, but instead needs to showcase itself to the international community as a modern nation with plenty of business opportunities. And which sport is more global than football? Which tournament is more global than the World Cup? Still, this World Cup is just one part of a broader strategy to properly join the international community. Other pillars of this strategy are the international news broadcaster Al Jazeera and sports broadcaster beIN Sports. The accumulation of huge art collections which Qatar uses for exhibitions at home and abroad, positioning Qatar Airways as one of the world's leading airlines, the takeover of Paris Saint-Germain, and of course hosting several other sports events, like the Asian Games in 2006 and the Handball World Championships in 2015. Because Qatar's hard power, military power, is so small and the current source of income will one day run out, it has to go all in on soft power, its cultural, diplomatic and financial influence. When the entire world watches Hollywood movies and yearns for the American dream, the United States gains power without any military intervention, and everyone wants to do business with them. Qatar aims to achieve something similar through all their cultural and entertainment investments. In this way, The World Cup is used as a tool for propaganda. But propaganda aimed at whom? Well, not at the average football fan from the West. Qatar wants to bring in more foreign visitors, but 60% of them are corporate travelers, people with money. A related goal is to foster business relations, and so far that's working out great for Qatar. Football clubs like Bayern Munich, Ajax and PSV make lucrative trips to the Gulf state while fully aware of the human rights abuses. Oil company Shell has become Qatar's largest foreign investor, and the World Cup itself has also drawn in foreign companies. Tekfen Construction from Turkey, for example, is one of the largest construction contractors building stadiums and infrastructure, and the British construction company Carillion sparked controversy because of the way in which it treated its workers. Qatar also targets highly educated expats and teachers who should help strengthen Qatar's knowledge economy. None of these people and businesses seem to mind the modern-day slavery. There's money to be made in Qatar, so why ask questions? In addition to these foreign interests, the World Cup's PR is intended to reach the Qatari people, not the migrant workers, but their employers. They, as will be clear by now, don't mind the modern slavery either, but they might mind the monarchy which rules over them. The Al Thanis expect the Qatari people to have a greater sense of unity and pride when the national football team manages to get some good results at the World Cup, as Russia did so brilliantly in 2018, and when they can successfully host this major event. A more proud and happy people are more likely to keep supporting the Al Thani family. Emir Tamim Al Thani will also need to be popular in order to stave off threats from within his own family. The royal house is anything but a nice family enterprise. Most emirs are eventually deposed by a family member. What better way to prevent this than by being immensely popular? And what better way to achieve that than by giving the people some high-level entertainment and something to be proud of? Al Thani's regime also hopes for the World Cup to improve public health. The Qatari people aren't the most physically active, leading to relatively high rates of obesity, heart disease and diabetes. In turn, these issues cause the government's medical expenses to be high. By building modern sports facilities and by starting a program which should train the next generation of top athletes, the government wants to stimulate people to work out from a young age. The World Cup is a good reason to make these investments and could provide an inspiration for more people to start playing football or to be involved in sports at all. To summarize, the World Cup's benefits for the Al Thani family are as follows. International relations which guarantee the country's safety and make the economy future-proof, a unified people more supportive of the royal family, and a healthier population costing less money. The opinion of average Joe in Europe is just as irrelevant to the Al Thanis as the migrant workers' human rights are. Only a boycott by several major countries could lead to a serious loss of face for Qatar, but the odds of this happening are getting lower each month. The World Cup will be a resounding success for Qatar. This question about negative publicity could also be asked for FIFA. Won't they feel the heat of criticism? The short answer is that FIFA's reputation is already so negative that the 2022 World Cup could only confirm it. A more nuanced answer takes into account the political and economic goals of FIFA, which we'll explore in the next chapter. The question there will be, what can football do about problems in Qatar? Football and politics don't mix, right? To read more about these issues and to check the sources I use to piece all this together, visit our website don'twatchqatar2022.com. If you want to support us financially, please don't. We don't want to profit off this tournament. Instead, please donate to one of the organizations listed on our website. Also, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and TikTok. We'll keep you posted on the next episodes. Thanks for listening. This was Enzio Bakker from the Netherlands. I hope you join us again next time.